All right, guys. I think the 5 minutes time is up, so we should start. We were expecting some people to join in, but I guess they'll join in as we continue. So, hi everyone. My name is Yasser Shabir Hamza. I'm a medical student here in Kenya, Nairobi, and a part of MSAKE, Medical Students Association of Kenya. It's really nice to have BVMD here with us. And MSAKE join together and come together and as future global health leaders, we're starting early, I guess. So that's a really good thing. So I'd like to start on the agenda. We're going to start with an introduction. All of us here will just give a brief introduction about themselves, their positions, and also we will also do a quick mental health check. We are living in difficult times, so it's always good to check on each other. So I'll hand over to our mental health and wellness. Oh, he's not here, so I'm just gonna go ahead. So yes, Lucas, please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay, hi, my name is Lucas. I am currently the NMO president of BVMD Germany, and it's so nice to be here. Thank you very much for the introduction. My mental health is currently very well. I just took a shower and I'm very fresh today and very motivated to do something. And it's so cool to be here, and I'm looking forward to our collaboration. It will be very exciting. And yeah, let's start with it.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Sorry, I can see now the head of mental health and wellness committees here, so I'd just like to hand it over to him, Patrick, to just continue the introduction. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Yasser, and you're all welcome for this session. And we are passing a special gratitude to BVMD for joining this call and for initiating and accepting to have this conversation. So I'd like, first of all, take us through an introduction in which I'd expect each and every one of us to give a brief information about ourselves, and then afterward we do a mental health check, or probably we could just do it together. Let's say we introduce ourselves, and again go ahead to tell us how you have been so far. So probably we could start from Tim. Tim, if you can hear me.
Hi everyone. So my name is Tim Bryan. I am also a medical student from here in Kenya. I am truly grateful to be in this meeting today. So far I'm doing okay. We were actually having visitors around, so I just excused myself a bit. So my family is just chatting with them a bit. So I've been up and down, I think, emotionally. I think we discussed it with the small mental health watch that we made, and but it's been really good having family around. It's helping me through this period, so it's really nice. Also working with MSAKE and the task force here to work together and brainstorm has also been really good for me during this period. So yeah, I'm doing great, and I'm looking forward to learning as much as I can, and possibly also having ideas moving forward from this meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tim, and you are such an amazing team member, and of course your efforts count. So would we hear from Achia?
Hi everyone, my name is Atiev. I'm a final year student, and I'm doing well. Yeah, I can. I'm just from shopping, so I'm in good spirits. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Atia, for everything. Anna, if you can hear me.
Yes, can you hear me too?
Sure, yes.
Okay,
welcome.
My Wi-Fi is not that good here. I'm Anna. I'm also from BVMD Germany, and I'm Vice President for Internal Affairs. I'm here because Lucas said I should come, and I have no idea what's going to be happening now, so I'm just excited to be here. My mental health is okay. Yeah, it's okay.
All right. So much, Anna, and we hope to have a good, productive conversation. You're welcome. Benjamin?
Hi everyone, my name is Benjamin Wafula from Uzima University. My mental well-being have been fine. I finally accepted the situation of COVID-19. It's there and we have to learn to stay with it. And I think I'm good. Thank you.
All right, that's great, Benjamin, and glad to have you on the call. Ashwinda, if you can hear me?
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. My name is Ashwinda Bamra. I'm a final year medical student here in Kenya as well. Doing okay, keeping positive and try to be optimistic with everything around us. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Ashwinda, for joining the call, and you're once again welcome. So, MSAKE Kenya. Nicholas, you there?
Hi everyone, my name is Nicholas Kioko, fourth-year medical student from Moi University, Eldoret, Kenya. I'm currently the president for the Medical Students Association of Kenya. Looking forward to this meeting. And again, my mental health is good. No complications so far. There is a lot of things that are going on currently, but I'm keeping my mental health on check. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, and you're welcome. I could see Ruby is on. Ruby, if you can hear me, would you please give an introduction of yourself and tell us how your mental health is so far?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Patrick. Hi, everyone. I'm Ruby. Sorry, I was a few minutes late, but I'm here now. My name is Ruby Oswere, and I am doing much better when it comes to my mental health. I think at the start of the pandemic, just getting used to everything and making the transition was a bit difficult, but I'm glad that at least now I've been able to get into a healthy routine, and I think I'm doing relatively well. I'm doing quite well, actually. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ruby, for joining. And in the spirit of letting our ladies go first, I hope I didn't leave out any lady. Finance, MSAKE.
Hello everyone, I'm Ezra Masinde from Maseno University, that is in Kenya. I happen to be the finance officer of MSAKE. My mental health is in check. I'm doing great. Yeah, I had an interactive session with the family during the morning hours. Yeah, so basically I'm doing fine. Thank you.
All right, Masinde, you were breaking a bit, but I think we got you, and you're so much welcome to this conversation. At this point, I'd like to invite Emmanuel. Emmanuel Kiplagat.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Plaget. I'm a student in JQuat, and I'm also the current secretary for PR in communications. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much, Emmanuel. I saw Collins on the Collins is not here. So lastly, allow me welcome BVMD. I think probably for the sake of those of us who joined late, would you just take another round of introduction, kindly?
Yes, of course. Anna, do you want to start again?
Sorry?
I asked Anna, like my colleague, to start again.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you could also introduce both of us. I don't mind, but anyway, I'm Anna. I'm from BVMD Germany, and I'm vice president for internal affairs. So usually I don't do any international stuff. I'm just here because Lucas said I should come, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It's cool.
Thank you
Yes,
so much,
and
Anna.
I'm Lucas. I'm the animal president of BVMD Germany currently, and we as the EB led our COVID task force response to COVID until now. I think we are currently like putting stuff to an end. The COVID situation in Germany is currently getting better and better every day. We are over the peak and we do not expect a second wave or a second peak in Germany. So what we can do now is taking a retrospective look and trying to prevent a further outbreak of COVID. And that's also what our government is doing in Germany currently.
Right, thank you so much. So at this point, I'd just like to probably allow us go into the next session. So as Yas comes in, I'd just like to probably introduce myself and say, my name is Patrick Lumumba. I'm a fifth year medical student at Mount Kenya University in Kenya. And I'm also the leader for the mental health and wellness subcommittee under this task force. I'd also like to mention that the task force operates under the able leadership of Nicholas, who doubles up as the president of the Kenya Medical Students Association of Kenya, alongside Nyambura Muroki, who is on the call. Wonderful. So allow me, first of all, ask Esther. Esther, you just joined. Esther, could you probably introduce yourself and tell us about your mental health lately before Nyambura comes in? Esther, if you're there. It's taking a bit of time. Nyambura, can you hear me?
Hi, Patrick. I can hear you.
Thank you. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nyambura. I am a member of this team, and I double up as the development assistant for Africa as well. And I'm happy to be on here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nyambura. And you welcome. Esther?
Hello, guys. I'm Esther Kibor, and I'm part of the team. And I've been fine. So far, I've been fine, but a bit busy with schoolwork, but I'm doing well. And I'm glad to be on this call.
All right, Esther. And thanks everyone once again for joining. And I'd like to thank all of you for sharing your experiences. And I'd just like to once again urge all of us to not to forget about the mental health needs of people around us. Clearly, we are all doing fine, but that doesn't mean it's the picture out here. So anytime we have the chance to reach out to someone and speak to someone, please let's always utilize that opportunity. So at this point, I'd like to welcome Yas, pick up from here.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for the mental health watch. It's always good to check everyone and to support each other in this tough times. Just a quick update on Kenya. We are, unlike Germany, we are actually rising to our peak. I mean, it's now time for Africa. I mean, it went from Asia to Europe to North America, and now it's in Africa, and our cases are rising day by day, and the situation is also getting more difficult and of course, with medical education being stopped and we're all at home and all the restrictions, it's unfortunate. So that's why we came up with the COVID-19 task force. And without further ado, I'd like to invite our animal president, Nicholas, to give us a brief presentation of what we have done so far. And yeah, I'll hand over to Nicholas as a task force. Yes, thank you.
Hi, everyone. So again, I'm Nicholas Kyoko. I'm just going to share my screen so that you can follow through. Tell me when you can see my screen so that I begin. Can everyone see it?
Nope.
No, Nicholas, we can't see a screen.
Are you presenting something? No, I can't see it.
Okay, I think
Now
it's
it's
coming
loading.
now.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I can see it now.
Great. So I'm just going to give a quick introduction to our COVID-19 task force and what we have been up to since the situation started. So this is our national COVID-19 response strategy. We formed the task force earlier in March this year when COVID-19 pandemic finally arrived in Kenya. And so this is a small working group just been established by the association with the mandate of carrying out a holistic response to the pandemic. And it's made up of representatives from all our 9 local chapters and the members of executive board, of which some of them are in this meeting. So the initial concept came from an observation of what the other national member organizations within Africa and even beyond were doing in response to the pandemic. And we analyzed all that and came up with our national strategy on how to approach this whole issue. So, and we realized that as medical students, now that the schools were closed and we had nothing to do, just staying at home, we couldn't just stay idle and not take part in response towards the pandemic. And again, medical students are normally an integral part of the healthcare system. And all the knowledge that we acquire from our medical schools, we are supposed to utilize it towards contributing to our healthcare system. And this is one way of which, in which we do this. And we have a pivotal role in supporting in the fight against this pandemic. This is not a government's affair. It's for everyone to respond in their capacity towards mitigating the spread of this pandemic further. And therefore, with that in mind, and with the support from the regional team, in liaison with Nyambura, who is their development assistant, we set up this task force. So the purpose of the task force is was to brainstorm and come up with a strategic plan for MSAKE towards the response to the pandemic. And so that was the initial plan, and I'm happy to say that the team came up with this strategic plan on how we are going to approach this issue as medical students, and therefore we would implement all the response activities that we came up with, which were targeting medical students and even the general public, including the essential service providers, the healthcare, frontline healthcare providers, and so on. And we have been working with the National Emergency Response Committee through the Ministry of Health and other professional bodies such as Kenya Medical Association in response to this pandemic. And all these are all aimed at putting the association on the world map of COVID-19 response. So the task force has a very defined structure. So it's made up of members of the EB, who are the national officers of all our 7 standing committees. And I just want to clarify that we have 7 standing committees because we had added the standing committee on mental health, which is not part of the IFMSA yet, but we incorporated it as part of the standing committees in SAKE. It's also made up of the task force team, which is made up of the representatives from all the local chapters, which are 9 in number per now. And within the task force, we have the subcommittees, which are normally headed by the members of the task force, and each subcommittee contains around 2 to 3 members of the task force. So all the members of the task force, including the national officers, are distributed in our various subcommittees. And these are some of the subcommittees which we have as per now. So the functional subcommittees per now are the first 5, and we the other day we thought of now including sexual and reproductive health subcommittee, which is coordinated with, by the National Officer for Reproductive Health with her team, who is here. She's called Barbara. So so we have webinar subcommittee, research and education subcommittee, mental health and wellness subcommittee, which just led us with the mental health watch. We have the community engagement, communication and design team, and of course the SRH subcommittee, which I just mentioned. And apart from that, at the beginning of this task force, we made a database. We made a survey to collect data from the medical students who in various schools who wanted to be involved in our activities, and also in response in case the Ministry of Health wanted medical students to be involved. And we came up with a volunteer pool of all the students who wanted to volunteer towards this course. Then, so just to narrow down each subcommittee and what they have been up to since their formation, I would like to begin with the webinar subcommittee, which I'm happy to say that it has already been registered under FMSA Communicable Disease Medical Education System as an official FMSA activity towards responding to the pandemic. And the goal of this subcommittee is to equip the healthcare students with adequate knowledge on the pandemic to enable them to provide health education in their families and communities. And this is normally done in a holistic manner, where we have like webinars and targeting various topics which are directly related to the pandemic. And of course, as we know, this is a new disease in the field, and there is no data which has been existing before regarding COVID-19. So this is the subcommittee which equips the medical students with enough knowledge based on this pandemic to be able to carry on health education in their communities, and also functions to bridge the gap between students and the healthcare professionals through engaging the professionals in the field in our communities. So far, the webinar subcommittee has conducted 8 webinars, of which the last one was last week, and it was very successful. Probably Yasir will speak to that. Then the subcommittee has partnered with several organizations, including Daktari Online, who normally hosts our weekly webinar series, and they provide us with a platform. So that is very, very good of them. Then they're partnered with Reproductive Health Network Kenya through the Standing Committee on Reproductive Health, and that was done last week and led to the last week's webinar. The subcommittee also partners with KMA in various activities, including weekly webinars, of which some of them are mental health related, and that is part of the mental activities that the Mental Health and Wellness Subcommittee conducts. So the aim of the Mental Health and Wellness Subcommittee is to address the pertinent mental health stresses arising as a result of this pandemic, and these include things like stigma, because as we all know, this disease has been associated with a lot of stigma, which even leads to some people to lock themselves in their rooms when they get COVID-19 like symptoms, so that they are not taken to isolation. And it's also associated with anxiety, even among medical students, where most of us are anxious when we are going to go back to normal, finish our medical training, and get on the field and get our life on. It's also associated with stress, paranoia, post-traumatic stress disorder, among others. So their target population is the task force, by conducting such mental health watches at the beginning of each of our meetings, and also through the week where we have like something like hot seats where we just look at what people are going through and just finding a way of keeping everyone on track. Then they also target the medical students to just keep watch of their mental health status during this period. And they also target the frontline healthcare providers and essential service providers. And they're coming up with strategies on how to actively engage these cadres of people in our daily activities. They collaborate with the Standing Committee on Mental Health, of whom we have several local officers who are part of the subcommittee, and mental health related projects such as Bonge. And they are also collaborating with the KMA Mental Health Committee, which, as I said earlier, normally hosts weekly webinars on mental health topics. So next is Research and Education Standing Committee, which aims to identify the COVID-19 related topics and content and develop evidence-based information to be shared as part of the task force medical education to medical students and health education to the Kenyan community. And they have been working together with the Standing Committee on Research and the medical education, because all this is part of the medical education and research-based projects such as REPUB project, which of course, I guess you have heard about it in BVMD. Then currently, we have a protocol which has been developed on the knowledge, attitudes, and perception of Kenyan medical students towards COVID-19, which has been submitted to institutional review boards, both in KNH, Kenyatta National Hospital, and Moi Referral Hospital, which is awaiting for approval before we can conduct this research and collect data. Then, so far, the subcommittee has submitted an enrollment form to the IFMS medical education systems. We are waiting to see whether it will be registered as part of the IFMS activities towards COVID-19 response. Then community engagement team focuses on engaging students on health education to their communities through either physical or virtual platforms. And these virtual platforms include maybe Zoom, Facebook, WhatsApp, or any other virtual platform where the general public healthcare can be accessed. And for the physical means, we are looking into ways of partnering with the main stakeholders in this response, including the Ministry of Health and the county governments, to see how we can provide the medical, our volunteers will be involved in this with the proper PPEs and any other needed logistical materials to aid in that physical reach out to the communities on the ground. So currently, they work closely with the Standing Committee on Public Health, and they are developing strategies to engage medical students in providing health access, as I have said, to the communities. Then we have our lovely designs and communications team, which is our creative community. They are the ones who develop all the materials we post on our social media or our website. And so they are the ones who have been producing all the posters and educational materials on COVID-19, which you have been seeing on various platforms, and they work closely with other subcommittees, such as webinar team or research team, when they have a material which they want converted a poster, or maybe the webinar committees planning to host weekly webinar series. This is the team which produces such posters. And if you have been following our handles, you might have seen that we have been having educational post series which have been posted on our various platforms. And lately, the Myths and versus Facts series on different facts regarding COVID-19 and the myths that the general public have regarding the pandemic. and I'm happy to see that they are doing some translations from English to Swahili, and this will increase our reach because, as you know, the national language in Kenya is mostly Swahili, and this will help reach more people and provide better health education to the community. So that's an overview of what we are doing. So the only other committee that I've not mentioned what they do is the reproductive health. This is because it's being initialized and it will focus on matters to do with reproductive and sexual health amid COVID-19 pandemic. So that's all, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Nick. I assume that means thank you in German. Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, Asante is also in Swahili, which means thank you. That was very insightful. A couple of weeks ago, I got to attend the IFMSA activities for the COVID-19, and that's where I came across Lucas, and I got to learn about what Germany is doing in COVID-19, and just in order for us to expand as a NMO, and also to learn how Germany is able to do some things with their task force, and just to collaborate and to see how we can work in the future. I managed to contact Lucas, and he's kind enough to join us here today and also present to us what Germany is up to. So, and if any of you guys have any questions from Sake, please feel free to ask after his presentation. Yes. Lucas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I have to manage because my computer does not work with the camera. I think you can see my screen now. So just to start, this is the current situation in Germany. And as I explained earlier, we are over the peak, and you can see it in the bottom right corner. I can also enlarge it for you. This is the case count in Germany currently, and as you can see, I think my screen is turned. 1 second. Yeah, so now you can see me in the right direction. This is the case count in Germany. As you can see, we are over the peak. At the peak, we had a case count of about 5,000 to 6,000 cases per day. By now, we are down to lower than 100 cases per day. So it was decreasing over the time. And as our health system is quite good, we were able to manage it. But especially in the first days, as you can see, the case count was increasing significantly day by day. We were not sure how our health system can manage it. And our COVID-19 task force was established around the 10th to the 12th of March. It was exactly the day when I came back from the March meeting from Rwanda to Germany, and I stepped out of the plane and my phone exploded with messages. And that was the day when we realized that we need to do something and we need to do it fast. So I can switch to my presentation. It's the presentation I held in the IFMSA webinar. And the first thing we did was to establish a task force, a Corona task force, which had also different subcommittees. It was led by the executive board together with members of the subcommittees, and it was split in different departments. The first one was public relations. It was, I will show you the projects that were the outcome of these committees in a few minutes. The next one was internal relations, mainly focused on the organization of our own events, how we handle our own NGA, our own training events, our TNT, and so on. The next one was members communication, how we communicate all the things to our local committees and to our members. The next one was international affairs, which mainly monitored the international situation. For example, we communicated with SCOME and took our part in the SCOME assessment of medical education throughout the world, and also the exchange situation. The next one was students in healthcare, also with 2 projects as an outcome, which I will show you in a few minutes. And the next one was education and examination. it was a very political committee, as we had a lot of political problems in medical education, for example, with our licensing examinations and with our whole examinations in Germany. And they did a lot of political work. I will show you also in a few minutes the outcome of this committee. So I will start with the public relations and public health subcommittee. We had two main projects. The first one is a newsletter, which is also enrolled under IFMSA. I'm not sure in which program exactly, but it's enrolled in IFMSA. A newsletter with different subcategories. We had the categories epidemiology, virology, health systems and policy, economics and socioeconomics, mental health, and fake news and communication. They publish a weekly newsletter in German, unfortunately, about the actual research and the most important topics that are ongoing due to COVID. And we also started a webinar. It was only one webinar, which was done by one of our projects. It's called Gandhi Global and Health Initiative of Medical Students. And it was under the topic reactions to a global challenge. And it was focused on international responses. For example, we had a video from, I think it was Iran, where people in holy places and in temples were licking as on a ritual, licking on stones, and people who are still doing that during COVID, which is also quite difficult to handle. And that was part of the topics of this webinar. The next subcommittee was students in healthcare, and we had two major platforms. The first one is Match for Healthcare, which is a website where students can register when they want to assist in healthcare or do something. And also clinics could register, and clinics could look for students to assist them in their own care. By now, I think I looked it up a few minutes ago. By now, we have more than 10,000 registered students there, and I think more than 100 institutions who are looking for support. And on the other hand, we had MEDIs for ÖGD, which means Medical Students for Public Health, which was assisting in another category, because our contact person tracing, which is one of the most important parts in handling COVID, was done by local public health institutes, and they also needed help in the management and in the contact person tracing. And we also assisted there, and we created a platform where students can match with their local institutes. The contact person tracing, I'm personally active in there, is also extended now. In my own city, it's in Essen, it's in the west of Germany, it is about here. We are now doing something that's very special. We have teams from our fire department who are going out as like an external team and doing COVID tests in the at the place where our patients are. So if someone's going to be tested for COVID, we go to our car, we drive there, and we do the test at their place, which is also quite nice because it reduces the transmission rate on the way to testing stations or similar. The next part is external affairs and impact. We had a lot of collaborations with a lot of political faculties through the through the Medical Faculty Association, with politicians, through our health ministry, with other stakeholders, for example, our National Association of Statutory Health Insurances, with our Public Health Association in Germany, and also with our Institute for Licensing Examinations, to create solutions for our medical students and for their medical education as well. During our COVID response, we had 8 press releases, 8 statements, and 1 petition, which acquired more than 100,000 signatures in 3 days and had more than 22,000 comments. So our outreach was massive. We had a lot of people who looked at us, who looked at our problems, and who were aware of our problems. I think medical students were never in the focus of society as much as in the current situation, and we used this to generate more outreach. We also had 55 newspaper articles, of which 24 were in major daily media, which is quite special in Germany. We were in 1 TV report and in 5 radio reports or podcasts. So also our Instagram and Facebook outreach exploded. We had a post reach of more than 286,000, which is so much. We have currently 94,000 medical students in Germany. So this is also one indicator for a huge outreach way over the borders of medical students. We had a huge follower gain and huge page views. And if you want to follow us, it's like.bvmd. We are currently also working on our social media concept, and we are trying to try some new designs, especially for our policies and our statements. So if you want to check it out, just join us there. And if you have any questions, just ask them now, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucas, for the really inspiring presentation. From what I've gained is that now Germany is stabilizing, and COVID-19 will be soon history. Unfortunately, it's not the same scenario here in Kenya. As of today, we have over 2,700 cases and 84 deaths, and this is rising day by day. And this just shows the need for medical students here in Kenya to as well get recognized and get involved, because we haven't really, because we have a duty towards the healthcare system. And of course, coming from a low and middle income country, we have weak health systems, and therefore we do play a crucial role in supporting our healthcare practitioners and frontline healthcare workers, and in just also engaging within the communities to end the transmission. So now the floor is open. Please, let's take this opportunity and ask Lucas or Anna any questions.
Hi, I have a question. This is Nyambura.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Lucas. That was a great presentation, and congratulations for all the work you've done. I really like the idea of Match for Healthcare and Medis for OGD. Could you elaborate? Are these BVMD platforms, or are they platforms that existed before? And then also, the question is, did they exist before COVID, or did they start to come into play now after COVID?
They didn't exist before. We did something called a hackathon. I don't know, maybe you could give me a short feedback. Do you know the concept of a hackathon?
Yes.
Okay, so it was invented by our government, and medical students and students from the IT and other departments came together, and they didn't exist before. They were programmed at this hackathon, and then it was launched. And for example, Match for Healthcare is also open source. Medis for ÖGD is a platform where we just used, I think it was Google Forms or something to match it, so it was more manual work. Match for Healthcare is more automatic. It's like it has more automatic processes, but it's also open source. So if you want to have Match for Healthcare for Kenya, we could provide you with a code, and you would just have to adapt it for your own local situation.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Nicholas, would you take that?
Be great.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes.
Okay. And how you said you've reached how many institutions?
I can look it up 1 second. By now we have 75, but it's also because some institutions found a lot of medical students. So I think we had a peak of more than 100 institutions that registered there.
Okay. So it's all is it just medical students, or it's multidisciplinary?
I think it's more known in medical students,
okay.
But it's open for everyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to adapting that in Kenya.
Thank you, Nyambura. That was that was a really good question. Yes, this is something we should work. Nicholas, our president will work with you on this. Do we have any more questions? Anyone has any questions? Nicholas?
Okay, I think we should have like the leads for each subcommittee say like what they have got from the presentation and how maybe they would like to partner with BVMD or collaborate in some of the things, because I think what BVMD is doing is really great, and we can borrow some things from there.
Absolutely, I agree, and especially now when our number of cases are rising and things are getting more intense in here in Kenya, we could play our role and end the pandemic here as well. So I'll just go ahead and start with Patrick. Patrick.
Hello. Yes, are you there?
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. I was taking some little notes as the presentations were going on, and I think there's so much insight that comes forth from the sharing. First of all, it's clear that BVMD has had a number of, and what I would call an multifaceted, approach, reaching out to a number of institutions and bringing all that to empower themselves and give a greater performance, which I think is something we could seek in our setup. We have tried to partner with a number of institutions, but probably we could do more. For example, it was amazing to see the, having newspaper articles to 55 with 24 in mainstream, whatever. So I think it's something we could do, because again, with that, our reach is expanded immensely. And particularly, I would also think about probably our subcommittees would probably consider, despite or besides the fact that we could find newspaper articles to be featured in our media, we could probably have our own, periodical kind of articles which we could share out there periodically, depending on emerging trends and various issues surrounding COVID. Otherwise, I think this engagement is so eye-opening and will take us steps higher, and I'm grateful.
Yasir, before you invite the next person, maybe I can point something out.
Go ahead.
I think one of the things that we have been lacking is the use of statistics, because we have been doing a lot of quite a lot, but we have not sat down to analyze like how many people do this. Maybe our educational posters reach on Twitter, on Facebook, how many people have been impacted by our activities. And I think that is one of the things that our research subcommittee headed by Ashwinda should take up and just look at what impact we are having on our local community. And that could be one of the major things to help us maybe when approaching some stakeholders. It's one of their convincing evidence, because it's hard evidence that we actually what we are doing has impact on people out there. So that is a very good resource to tap into. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. And I just had a question for Lucas. What were the petitions that you managed to send? What are they based on?
Yeah, the petition was also based on medical education. We had the problem of our licensing examination because our health minister said that he wanted to move it. We have 3 licensing examinations in Germany, and he wanted to move the second one. So our students had to do the second one together with a 3rd licensing examination after their studies, which would mean a lot of stress for our medical students, and it's not a good concept at all. So in the beginning, we started the petition to stop this movement and to make our 2nd licensing examination happen under the hygiene restrictions in Germany. Unfortunately, our health minister decided to leave this decision to our federal states. We have 16 federal states in Germany. And what happened is that 14 of 16 federal states decided to do the 2nd licensing examination as usual, and 2 of them didn't. With the problem that in these 2 federal states, also the beginning of our last practical year of studies was moved. So usually you could switch between federal states for your practical year. This change made this not possible. So you were not able to switch to these specific federal states for your last practical year, which means that people who are based there, who studied like abroad in other federal states, were not able to move home for their practical year, and a lot of political difficulties. And that was what the petition was for.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I think this is something we should also consider here, considering that there's a lot of inequalities right now with medical schools and online classes, because not everyone is able to access them, and you know it's a hot topic that is currently going on in Kenya. I think that's something that also our NMO should take up, and to ensure that also there isn't any inequalities when it comes to medical education. All right, so on that note, I'd like to invite Ashwinder. Ashwinder? Yes.
Hi, yeah, I'll just start off with first saying, of course, you guys have done a tremendous job there. I mean, it's a really well-structured approach towards the whole thing. There's one thing which really caught my attention. You mentioned that you were also producing weekly newsletters that were sort of giving insights into the current advances and the current information that's being released out there. So just a follow-up on that, was it just targeting medical students, or was this also being sent out to the general public through your communication channels?
It was open for everyone. I think the main outreach was to medical students, especially because we work on mostly research-related topics. We try to collect all the information from the recent studies and transfer them to our medical students, but with the thought in our back that our medical students work as multipliers and they have the opportunity to transfer this knowledge even further in a peer educational approach to the general population, to their relatives, to their friends. So we try to spread the information through medical students, so we empower to give the information about the current research.
So it was still it wasn't really tailored down to be at a general public health level in terms of the content of the material, but the idea was to try and make the medical students more informed so that they can then trickle the information down to their respective communities.
Yes, I think one of the problems in Germany is that we do not have communication channels to the general population. There are communication channels of our ministries, but they're not open for us. So our main approach and our main communication opportunity are medical students.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Just a follow on that question. How did you, was it an open call for articles? And then did you work with any media houses to, how was the collaboration between media houses to publish these articles?
We only do the newsletter digitally at the moment, so we do not work with some presses or so. And it's only done by medical students. So we do not open calls for articles. We have medical students who form together as people who are interested in the areas and also people who are experienced with the areas. For example, we have 2 or 3 students who have a master in public health who are doing the whole policy topics because they are most experienced with it. So it's only them doing the articles.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim Bryan?
Yes, hello. So I just had one question. Maybe before I ask it, just a clarification. I think I saw in your slides you mentioned that you had several, or what you guys were doing was featured in several press releases, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. So I was just curious. I wanted to find out: was this your initiative, or was it the media houses or the newspapers? Was it the initiative to come and pick up your story, or was it from your end? Like, how did it go about for you to get to that point?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I think that's very Germany specific. In Germany, we do not have the initiative. We are a very big student initiative. I think we are the biggest, one of the biggest in Germany. So the eyes are always, and it started with the German medical paper. It's like the biggest for doctors in Germany. And we are usually featured only there. But through the communication channels, it just multiplied from this paper to other papers. And then they took up our initiatives. So we published things, we published press releases. The press releases are addressed to press houses and they pick it up or they don't pick it up. And in the COVID times, they picked up a lot of our stuff.
Okay, it's okay. And when you're doing these press releases, could you just give us a snapshot maybe of what kind of stories do you report? You mentioned the political times during COVID, health. What kind of stories do you publish exactly?
Yeah, I think it started with mostly inequalities. And for example, for the licensing examinations or for students in healthcare, we had a big press release on the security of our students and the availability of protection gear. We had a lot of press releases on inequalities in the education. For example, when students went to quarantine, they were not able, or otherwise they had to redo the days that they were missing due to the quarantine at the end of their practical year. But as the third licensing examination is a few days after the last day in hospital of the practical year, they had no time to learn. And we picked up on these inequalities and tried to do something out of that. But it was, in Germany, it's mostly political what we do.
Okay, thank you. I think, yeah, I've got a lot from that. I can think through it and maybe come up with some suggestions that we can work with. But thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Tim. Do we have any, before I go, do we have anyone else who would like to ask a question or say a statement or?
Yes, could I ask a question kindly?
Yes, go ahead, Patrick. Yeah.
Right, wonderful. I think this is an amazing structure we are seeing, and I just like to know, because comparatively, I think our organization here is a bit split and more specific. For example, we have subcommittees targeting particular topical issues like mental health and reproductive health and such. I just like to know how is it like working with an organization that responds to everything, like without the specialization like the kind that we have. Could it be that we are doing something that is so hectic, trying to split everything? How is it? How do you look at that?
Yeah, I mean, it was even difficult for us to explain our externals how we work in our response. And I think the most important thing here is structure. We had the difficulty that we as an EB had to overview everything. And we were in a position where people expected us as the EB to know everything about every particular thing going on in each subcommittee. And that was simply not, it was not possible. We started to have daily meetings with our EB every day, a meeting. It was crazy during this time. And we tried to get this overview and it didn't work. And at some point we stopped it and we went to a structure where each EB member was responsible for one of the subcommittees, and each EB member was responsible for just knowing everything that was going on in this committee. And we came together at the daily meetings and we just reported it, but we had split responsibilities. And I think that's the most important part. And the second most important part is communication about it. We had so many meetings and we had so many people who we talked to during this time, who we tried to include in our whole work. And when you work with someone who did not split it, you need to cover all the responsibilities that you have in your own team. So when you work with an organization that doesn't split it, that just covers everything, try to include as many members as possible of your task force or your EB. So you have everyone who can pick out a topic that's important or that falls under his responsibility, and he can pick out the most important things from your external from there.
Well, that's so clear, and I think it's a good one. And maybe a last question at that. You mentioned, having people in a team and responsibilities. Of course, that comes with accountability, and certainly we are a group of people, a group of medical students who are equally affected by the pandemic, just like everyone else. And in our experience over here, we have been able to witness, some exhaustion with our team members. Within our team members, sometimes people get worn out, and it's quite stressing being in that position. You're affected at the same time you're making efforts against the pandemic. I just like to know what your organization does. What do you do to your members? I mean, how do you manage to keep your members, motivated and such to keep fighting?
That's a very good question. I think we had a very lucky situation because our members are just motivated. That sounds very stupid, but it's the way it is. Especially our political committees are so motivated. In our OB, it's quite difficult from time to time. I think the most important part, again, is reflection, because when you are aware that your motivation is low, when you're aware that you are too stressed, you can put more effort in trying to relax more, trying to spend more time with friends, with colleagues, with family. In Germany, it's from time to time we just work and we get stressed and we do not talk about it, and we just put more stuff on us because it's our responsibility and we do not talk about it. And at some point, it just leads to the resignation of some people. So I think the most important part is being aware of it, and we as an organization do not do enough for our mental health. Also because we do not know how. I really like that you have a special subcommittee for it, and that's definitely one of the weaknesses of BVMD, because we talk about it, but we do not have specific actions for it. And I think that's one of the parts that we can learn also from you. And I'm very interested in your experiences with the specific actions for mental health. So we may invent something in BVMD by ourselves.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, Anna, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, because what I realized from my job is kind of to also communicate with the members and everybody in the BVMD. And what I realized is that most people are really they want information, even if the EB sometimes thinks this is not important or nobody cares about that. They're just they need kind of transparency, I think, and they feel, I think motivation is higher when they're always informed about what's going on. So when we started doing this, so we're doing it's called National Fachschaftenforum, where all the members kind of come together. I don't know whether Lucas can explain a bit what this is. I think people really like that because they get updated and this keeps motivation up. So that was really good when we started doing this.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like this Fachschaftenforum is like a faculty meeting with the students from the faculty, or student bodies meeting, where one or two representatives of the students of each local committee come together and they get information from us. It's usually used for medical education topics, which is relevant to the local level. We also used it for the COVID response to inform our members.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you guys are doing a good job. So proceed. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick, for the really good questions. Yes, indeed, motivation is always a challenge, especially amongst our members, and learning new ways how to keep them motivated, because that's how you get the output and of the organization out there. I'll just like to talk about a bit about our webinars. So we've managed to host around 8 webinars, and the whole point of the webinars was to gauge the medical students who, because our universities closed down in Kenya in the middle of March, and there wasn't any online classes that were active. So students, and we thought that we need to engage students in this COVID-19 response, and and medical students are knowledgeable about communicable diseases and stuff. So we contacted experts around the country and even outside the country, and we just constantly update and educate medical students on the COVID-19, on the outbreak, and touching on different branches of healthcare. Just the other day we had something on reproductive health, and we're also seeing that our webinars, also doctors are attending our webinars because they also need to gain the knowledge, and it's a huge gap here, and that's what we are trying to do and fill it out, and because healthcare practitioners also need to learn as the virus evolves and in this pandemic. So we had a proposal. We would like to have a webinar with BVMD, a collaborative webinar, MSAKE and BVMD. In this case, since Germany has done so well in flattening its curve, and now things are reopening and stuff, so we would like to have a sort of German experience of the COVID-19 pandemic. So maybe this is something, hopefully after this meeting, we can work with Lucas on, and you can invite some healthcare experts that you're in contact with or that you know would be fit for this webinar, and we can also invite one from outside, because we are students. We are part of the healthcare. That means we shape our future global health. We shape our healthcare system in the future, and therefore, knowing that Germany has a really good healthcare system, it's very important for our Kenyan medical students to learn how they were able to contain the pandemic. So, God forbid, in the future there's a pandemic like this. I hope not. We are able to, control it, and we're able to, strengthen our systems before it goes out of hand. Yeah. So hopefully this is something we will take up after the meeting with Lucas and try to see. Lucas, what do you think of the suggestion on having a collaborating webinar?
Yeah, thank you for the proposal. I had to change my device because my phone crashed. I hope you can hear me. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah.
I really like the proposal. I also was so impressed by your presentation because MSAKE is doing such a great job, and I just saw the webinars and I was already impressed by the webinars and the people you invited and the collaborations, and your whole work you're doing is just so great. I believe we can both learn from each other. I can already think of some healthcare professionals who would be very good for such a collaboration. I really like the idea, and I will talk to my EB about the opportunities and maybe the externals we could invite. And then, yeah, let's do it.
Yes, thank you. That would be really nice. And we can even extend the invitations to all medical students in Germany, as well as here in Kenya. And it will be a platform for an exchange and, understanding. As well, we can also emphasize the role of medical students in this pandemic, because we've seen how Germany has been able to, BVMD has played a huge role from the presentation. You've played a huge role in containing. So a big congratulations to you guys. And we want to extend the same motivation to our students here to show that we are students, we are not powerless, we are very powerful, and, we can do a lot to save our country and to, end this pandemic, finally travel and move around. Yes, thank you. Would Lucas and Anna, would you guys, before we end this meeting, would you guys like to make any closing remarks?
Anna, you want to start?
I'm not that much of a talker, but it was really nice to be here. It's very interesting and it's very cool what you guys are doing. And yeah, I just thank you for inviting us, or me especially, because I've not sure how much I could contribute, but I've certainly learned some interesting things. So thank you very much.
And also from my side, thank you very much for the invitation. It was so nice to be here, and I'm looking forward to our collaboration. I believe that collaboration is the key to overcome this pandemic. We did a lot in Germany together with other stakeholders. We did a lot on the European level with other stakeholders. And now we can extend our collaboration to Africa, one of my favorite continents, of course, after the March meeting. And I'm looking forward to what we can produce to bring all the topics to our medical students.
Thank you very much. Africa is indeed very beautiful, and we want to end this so you can finally come here and explore our continent that has a lot to offer. Also, we would like to invite closing remarks from our end. I'd like to start with Nyambura Moroki. She's the Regional Development Assistant for Africa. Nyambura?
Yeah, thank you. This was such a thoughtful meeting. I'm really happy that this happened, and I would love to see more of this
kind of cross continent collaboration with other NMOs in Africa. So thank you so much, BVD Germany, Lucas and Anna. We really appreciate you taking your time to come and speak to us. Please invite us to come speak in your meetings as well. We would be more than happy to share what we've been doing with your members. Yeah, and thank you to Yas and to Nicholas for putting this together, and just the way the organization has been so thoughtful. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Nyambura, for those wise words. Now, I'd like Nicholas, our NMO president.
I can give my remarks with the vote of thanks.
Yes, please.
Okay. So first, I would like to thank everyone who managed to attend this meeting, including our task force, which has been working very hard. And at least now we have learned new things and areas of collaboration with BVMD. And the EB members who managed to attend, I have seen a couple of them, and that was very nice. And it has been a learning opportunity for us all, and a platform for exchange between the two national members.
Nicholas, I think there's a problem with your connection. Nicholas? Hello, can you hear me, Nicholas?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, okay. We can hear you now. Go
ahead. When did you stop hearing me? I can start over.
Oh, it's just been a minute. Yeah.
Okay, so for BVMD, ich möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, Bundes Vertretung der Medizinstudierenden in Deutschland oder BVMD Germany in besonderer Weise für die Zustimmung zu diesem Treffen mit uns zu sagen. Wir erkennen und begrüßen Lukas und Anna und diese Team für die Arbeit, die hier als Reaktion auf diese Pandemie leistet. Wir freuen uns darauf, mit zusammen zu arbeiten und unsere Bemühungen eine stärkere Reaktion auf die Pandemie zusammenzuführen. Thanks to all the subcommittee leads for the wonderful job that you've been doing, and I think you've learned a lot from BVMD that we'll put into action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Oh, we finally got to hear some German from our NMO president. We got to learn a new talent. Lucas, how was his German?
It was so nice. Actually, I was very impressed. The accent was nearly not.
Swahili now. Lucas,
I can just say Asante Sana.
Karibu. Yes, thank you. Wow, that's we got to explore a hidden talent of our NMO president. That's amazing. Thank you, Nicholas, for the amazing words, which we didn't understand, but I'm sure they were all. And
they can translate. They can translate for you.
Yes, I'm sure, of course. Thank you, guys. On my behalf, I'm so glad that we could bring this together. We learned a lot from BVMD, and I hope you also are able to learn from us. You know, as we are going deep into this pandemic, especially in Kenya, right, or generally in the continent Africa, it's high time for us to now, constantly be active and be active within our NMOs, and ensure that as students our voices are heard, and that we are able to play our role as medical students and end this pandemic. Travel to Germany, and you can also come to Kenya as well, so that our lives can move on to back to normal. So Lucas, we'll follow up over our chat on the webinar, or when we'd like to organize it and stuff. Yeah, and thank you everyone who was able to take some time and attend this inspiring and amazing session. And yeah, would love to work with BVMD. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Yes.
Asante sana. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You too.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Who asked? Oh, he's left.